Hello everyone, now let us start our 3.5 exercise of class 10 NCERT, which is nothing but cross multiplication method. Okay, now I'll be explaining this method in the question itself. So let's start the questions. In the first question, we need to check whether the solution, the equations are having a unique solution or not. Okay, then only we will try to solve the equations with cross multiplication method. So we clearly see that a1 by a2 is equal to b1 by b2, and it is not equal to c1 by c2. Therefore, it is a condition for parallel lines. Remember, which means no solution. Okay. So we will take the next equations. Now you can check it clearly. It will have single solution, that is unique solution, because a1 by a2 is not equal to b1 by b2. Okay. So now we will proceed for cross multiplication method. For that we will make this matrix. Okay, this is a matrix method actually. What is matrix? That is not important for you right now because it is a higher level word, higher level concept. Just remember that this is matrix actually, in which what I am doing, I am writing the coefficient of x below the x, coefficient of y is written as below the y, that is b actually of the equation, and c we know that it is -5 and -8, right? Don't forget the minus here. If you forget the minus here, your whole solution will be wrong. Okay, these are the coefficient of 1 actually. Now we will make fractions out of this. Okay, so for that, for x, denominator of x, we will choose this part. That is, we are actually, what we are doing, we are ignoring this column and this row. Okay, we will be ignoring the column of x and the row of x. That is, we will be taking this part. Okay, and from this part, what we will do, we will be multiplying 1 with -8 like this, and then we will subtract this with the multiple, the product of these two numbers. Okay, students, remember this orientation. This orientation is very important. Okay, this orientation is very important. First you have to multiply these two, and then you have to multiply these two. Okay, this is very important. Understood? Now for y, we will be ignoring this row, the y row and the first column. Okay, so we will be considering these two numbers and these two numbers. Now we will apply the same strategy as we have applied in for x, denominator of x. We will multiply this with this, and then we will multiply 5 with -5, 3 with -5, sorry, and we will subtract this. Okay, understood? Now one thing is very important, you need to understand. To make the question simpler, I have done this. Okay, in the book you will see a different method actually, but this method is simpler, and as I'm always saying, if you go through the simple method, you will do less mistakes. Okay, chances of doing mistake is very less. So what I'm trying to say here, I will remember this orientation for everyone. If you follow the book, then they are reversing for y, and the direction of x and 1 is different and y is different. So you have to remember that thing also. So better if I am doing this, then I don't have to remember any different orientations. I will just have to remember this orientation only, and for that I will have to put a minus sign here. Just remember this, you have to put a minus sign here for y. Okay, every time for y you put the minus sign, then your orientation will never be different for any of this. Okay, all this orientation will be same. Like for 1, we will have to ignore this row and this column, right? So this part we will be considering. Now 2 into 2 we will write here, and 3 into 1 we will write here. Okay, and then we will subtract these two. Understood? So this is how we will do. This part is the very important part. This is the most important part, in fact. So we will get this. Yes, understood? Now we will be equating x with 1 and y also with 1, because one coefficient of 1 doesn't have any variable, so it will be easy for us to calculate with linear equation in one variable, right? This we have equated from the first part and this from the second part, right? So we'll get the value of x to be 2 and y will be equal to 1. Understood? So this part is very easy. The most important part is the matrix part. If you understood this one, then you can easily do this part. Okay, I'll be explaining one more question here. Third part is another infinite solution, because they are the same equations. Actually it is multiplied with 3. It is just multiplied with 2. Okay, so these equations are coincident, so we will have infinite number of solution, so we cannot solve that for one unique solution. Okay, so taking the fourth equation, let us separate the coefficients of x, y and 1. Okay, now as I have told you, the direction of x will be, denominator of x will be calculated with this direction. So this will be the denominator of x, and y should be negative, remember? Then apply the same orientation, we will get this. Okay, again for 1. Understood? So I'll be doing the calculation there. Okay, so x is equal to x is equal to 4 and y will be equal to -1. Okay, understood? Now we'll move on to the next question, for which we need to find the value of a and b, so that the equations given should have infinite number of solution. So this equation to have infinite solution, it should follow this condition. So we have got this. Okay, now all the parts have two variables. Okay, so we can take any of the two to make the linear equation. So I am taking the first two and the last two. Okay, therefore a is equal to b from the first part, and from second we have got an equation like this. Okay, I'm giving names. Now remember substitution method. This is actually a equal to 5b, so we will put a equal to 5b. Okay, now b will be equal to 1. Okay, now we will put this in equation 2 or equation 1. A will be equal to 5. Understood? Now let us go to the second part, in which we need to find the value of k so that there is no solution. That is this condition. Remember the condition of parallel. So this much is enough actually to find this value of k. I'm just writing this. So taking the first two, k will be equal to 2. Simple. Understood? If you like this method, if you have understood this method, you should try this and you should gain confidence in this method. Okay, and hit the like button. Question number 3 is actually just for practice. They are asking you to do the same equation, to solve the same equation with substitution method as well as cross multiplication method. So I will not be doing this because I have explained substitution method as well as cross multiplication method. This is just for practice. You should do this. Okay, now let's go to the word problems. We will be solving this with cross multiplication method after forming the equation, of course. So they are saying that there is a fixed charge and a charge per day is taken in the mess. So a student's for 20 days pays for 1000 rupees. So our equation will be, this is the first equation, and the second equation is for 26 days 1180 rupees is paid. Now if you ask me, I would love to do with the elimination method here, because directly x are getting cancelled, but they have asked us to go for cross multiplication method. So let's do that. X column and row will be ignored, and we will get the denominator like this. Don't forget the orientation. That is the most important part here. Okay, let me rewrite this here. Okay, so y should be negative. Remember, 1 will be multiplied with this, and again 1 will be multiplied with 1000 for coefficient of 1. Understood? Now let's solve this. So x will be equal to 400 rupees. Okay, now y will be equal to 30 rupees. So 30 rupees per day is the charge. Understood? So this is simple, students. You have to write the statements after that also. And I made a mistake here. Actually, the question is saying that you can use any method. So, of course, we could have used the elimination method. It would be very easy, right? But it's okay. You have one more question you have understood with cross multiplication method, right? Let's go to the second part, in which it is saying that a fraction becomes 1 by 3 when 1 is subtracted from the numerator, and it becomes 1 by 4 when 8 is added to the denominator. So our equation will be, first one is this and this is the second one. Okay, so we have got our first and second equation. Now we will solve this with any method. So I'll be using the substitution method here. Now moving on to the next part, in which if the numerator is subtracted with 1, then the fraction becomes 1 by 3. So this is our first equation. Okay. Similarly, the second equation tells that if we add 8 to the denominator, then we get 1 by 4. So this is our second equation, which can be written as 2. Okay. Now we can use here substitution method or elimination method, both. Of course, we can use all of the 4 method, but substitution and elimination is the best method to solve these kind of question. I'll be explaining that. First, let me solve this part. Putting the first equation in second equation, we will get this. Okay, now we can find the value of x, that is 5, and from 1 y is equal to 2. So our fraction is 5 by 12. Okay, now see students, I'll give you a tip here. Let's say mostly we have 3 kinds of equation. Okay, if we get this kind of equation in which two numbers x and y are having non-1 coefficient and all the coefficients are not divisible by each other, okay, then we should go for cross multiplication. Cross multiplication is the best method for this, because if we are going for elimination method, we need to multiply this equation with the huge numbers and it might take a longer to solve. Okay, next, if we are taking substitution method, then we will be getting the value of x to be in fraction. Like here we have got directly the value of y. Okay, so this is the best method we can use to elimination or substitution elimination, because y will be cancelled out in both the cases easily. Therefore I am saying elimination. So the next type is this kind of equation. We should be doing elimination, because just simply multiplying this 2 we can easily calculate this method. Okay, and in this kind of question we can use both elimination and substitution, because this can be easily cancelled out, also this can be easily replaced. Understood? Just remember one thing, never use substitution when you are getting fraction. Okay, best method when you are getting fraction in those situation is cross multiplication method. These questions are best suited for cross multiplication method. And if the questions are having like this one, we don't have numbers at all, then we should also go for cross multiplication, because there is nothing to cancel, there is nothing to substitute. Best method will be cross multiplication method. So this thing you should keep it in mind, that which method is suitable for what, if it is not mentioned in the question. Of course, if the question says that you have to apply certain method, then you have to apply that. Now the third part says that, so there is a test with correct and incorrect answers. We need to find the number of questions here. Okay, and for correct question, Yasha is getting 3 marks, and for incorrect questions she is getting -1 marks. Okay, so that's how she got 40 marks in total. Okay, and if she get 4 marks for correct and -2 for incorrect, then she would have got 50 marks. So this is our 2 equations. I will be applying elimination here. So subtracting for y, we will get the value of x to be 15. So there were 15 correct questions, and therefore y is equal to 5. Understood? So total number of questions is 20, assuming that she have attempted all of them. Okay, now let us go for the next question. So 2 places are there, A and B. Okay, 2 cars are there starting from A and B at the same time. If the car travels in same direction like this, then they will meet, let's say, at point C after 5 hours. Okay, I'm taking the speed of car A to be X and that of car B be Y. So to meet at C, the car A travels to AC, yes, and car B will travel BC distance. Okay, now we will find the distance here. With X kilometer per hour and 5 hours time, the car A will travel as per distance equal to speed into time. 5x distance is traveled by car A, that is AC is actually 5x, and similarly BC will be 5y because y is the speed of B and 5 hours it takes from B to C. Okay, so here one thing is very clear, that AC is equal to AB plus BC. Yes, see this diagram part you don't have to draw it in your exam. I'm just explaining this. Okay, of course if you draw this there is nothing wrong. I'm just saying that it is not compulsory. So just replacing the values we have got so far, we will get our answer equation, that is x minus y is equal to 20 because 5 2s are 10, so 5 20s are 100. This is our first equation. Now let's see what is the second condition. If they are in opposite direction and since they are meeting, so they have to travel towards each other, right? So they are in opposite direction and they are traveling towards each other. So the meeting point C will be somewhere in between A and B. Yes. Now again AC is the speed into time. That is speed here is x again, but time taken is 1 hour. So that is 1x and BC would be 1y. Understood? So clearly this time AC plus CB is equal to AB. That means x plus y is equal to 100. And we have got our second equation. Now we can solve this equation by any of the method. I'll go with the elimination because y can be directly cancelled by adding two equations. Okay. So x is equal to 60 km per hour. So y will obviously be 40 km per hour. Understood? If you have left with any doubt, please repeat the video once again. I am very sure that you will understand it more properly. Okay. Now moving to the last part of the question. Area of a rectangle is reduced by 9 square units if its length is reduced by 5 and breadth is reduced by 3. Now we need to find the dimensions. So let the length of the rectangle be x and the breadth be y. Okay. Now according to question, area, that is length into breadth, is reduced by 9 unit. If 5 unit is reduced from length, so 5 units I have reduced from length, and breadth is increased with 3 units. Okay. Now the area, which was previously x plus x into y, will be 9 less. Understood? So this is how we form the equation. Now using distributive property, we will get this equation. So this is our first equation, and similar things we can do with the second part, that is length is increased by 3. Length is increased by 3 and breadth is increased by 2. The area will increase by 67. Same using distributive property. This is our second equation. Now, as I have already told you that these kind of equation are best suited for cross multiplication. Okay. Understood? Similarly, we can find the value of y to be 9. Understood? I hope you have understood the concept of this exercise. This is very important exercise indeed. Thank you. See you in the next video.